if you were black, automatic, right? The same things that happened in my college happened in my wife's college in Michigan, shall we say, right? Same things that happened to the other guys, right? We got through school in spite of, not because of.
But it surprised you, as I recall. I read somewhere that it surprised you that at the college level that you would be running into this.
Now you've got it right. That I grew up thinking that only, pardon the expression because I don't like the expression, but so I'm not going to use it, but that only poor white people disliked black people. But that the more education you had, naturally you understood, naturally you were above that fray, you were intelligent, and etc. Found out that, for instance, head of my English department was from Harvard, PhD, and wouldn't let me join the English club because I was black. He's at the English department, and when 9 or 10 of English majors stood with me, he called them in one at a time, and he told them that if they left the English club, they would never get a job anywhere in the state. Right? And we were at a teacher's college, and half of these kids, their parents were teachers who had made great sacrifice to get them to school, and all of them, their parents had made sacrifices, right? And so they decided they had to. And they told me, you know, what had happened, but that they had to do what they did because of their parents.
And how did that make you feel?
Well, see, it just made me know that the PhD wasn't worthy of the title. It made me know that these young people, right, wanted to do the right thing, but could not, right, because of the circumstances in which they were caught in. I would have never used the term institutional racism at the time because I didn't know what it was, right? But there it was, right?
It was also a lesson for you in power, and the use of power.
And without doubt, is that without doubt. But that's the one I already knew. You understand my point? I didn't have to learn it there. I understood it very clearly. Let me give you another one from high school. Junior play. Now remember, I'm one of the most popular kids in school. I'm president or vice president of everything, right? And so I go out for the junior play. And Miss Wagner was head of the junior play. By the way, if you know Spoon River Valley, and the anthology, Spoon River Anthology, is the judge in Spoon River Anthology who isn't treated too kindly by Masters, by Edgar Lee Masters, right, was her father, all right, is that, but Miss Wagner, who loved plays and the arts and all that sort of thing, you know, she chuckled to it just like you're supposed to. You're just a perfect kind of, you know, stereotype, right? But I did Langston Hughes's I've Seen Rivers for my thing. And when I finished, she said, "You were very good." And says, I can't, but it's a play that only has white people in it, and I have no part for you. Says, but you know, you could. Oh, she's nice enough, and she was trying to be as nice as she could be, you know. I mean, and she said, but you could help with the screens and and that kind of work. Well, I had never painted anything in my life. So, but the idea was that you can hang around, right? And so I did, because the crowd that went out for plays was my crowd. We were all in French class together, and all that kind of stuff. You see what I mean? Those were that was my crowd, right? So I did, but I didn't do too well. I didn't make any screen. I didn't make any scenery. But one of the kids heard me of not Van Ness, can't think what it was. Anyway, she was taken by the poem and the whole works, right? And I probably did a Langston Hughes, you know, your voice is the color of a robin's breast and has sweet sob in it like rain, still rain in the night, and that sort of thing, right? So she invited me to dinner, and she would have to check with her parents. But she didn't get back to me for about 2 weeks. And one day in the hallway, she just stopped, right? And she said, I just have to tell you, that I've been dodging you, right? But my parents told me that you could not come to our house for evening meal, and that I can do nothing about that in so many words, so many, I don't know exact words, but, that was the one that hit me in the face.
And you could not come because you were black.
That's right. The one that really got me, though, was Don Coghill and I were sitting on the bleachers waiting for everybody to come out of the showers, because Don didn't take pee and I didn't pee that day, right? So we're sitting up on the bleachers waiting for everybody to come out. And Don said, I'd really like to invite you to a party. Says, but, I can't do that because parents were, I said, right? He said, all of us would like to invite you to our parties, but we can't. And that's the first time I even knew they were having parties. That's the one that hit me. I never knew they were having parties, right? Much less wanted to invite me and couldn't, right? As the so step by step, you got used to that, but you began to see the difference between social acceptance, social life acceptance, and acceptance in everything else.